a sense, because Conzo Martin has us in Missouri in common. Or we have, I guess that's something we have in common with Missouri. Let's bring Gabe DeArmond in here. I'm just thinking out loud here. He's at PowerMizzou.com. And Gabe, I welcome you in against the backdrop that I love talking to you, man. You're good people. So welcome in, my brother.
Appreciate that, Tony. Good to talk to you, man.
And by the way, we do share Conzo Martin, and the zone defense is going to be fun tonight. This is what Missouri does. They kind of junk it up a little bit. And, boy, they're really a weird basketball team. Weird team, but fun to watch.
Completely unpredictable. I mean, they have, if you look at their SEC games, they've beaten Florida, they've won at Kentucky, they beat Vanderbilt, and then they lost to Ole Miss and LSU. Nobody has any idea.
Well, how do you explain it?
They're a bubble team. They're the definition of a bubble team, right? They have a high ceiling. It's why I think if they can just win 2 more games, they're going to get in. I mean, they have better wins than most teams on the bubble. And the thing about being in the SEC is the losses that you think are bad losses, like at LSU, is a quad 1 loss. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but it is. Every game they play, with the exception of just a couple, I mean, in league play, they got blown out by Alabama, but every game comes down to the wire. I mean, Ole Miss, Georgia, LSU were games that they could have won in the last 2 minutes. Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Florida had shots in the air to beat Missouri, and Missouri won. So, you got to pay attention for all 40.
Well, I mean, the Vanderbilt game last week's a great example. A buddy of mine texts me, he goes, man, because we're getting ready to play him, on Saturday over the weekend. He goes, Vandy is getting absolutely waxed. And I flip it over, and Vanderbilt's got this, because we had just gotten done our post-game show, and Vandy's got this furious comeback on. I mean, like, furious comeback.
I was texting with a friend of mine that covers Vanderbilt, and, when it was like 15 or whatever, he's like, they're done. I've seen this game before. They just don't come back against physical teams like this. And I said, no, Missouri lets everybody back in the game. Like they have trouble finishing. And, he texted me at the end of the game, said, well, you were right. They survived, but it was interesting.
John Adams of my Knoxville News Sentinel jump in here. We got the great Gabe DeArmond with us, PowerMizzou.com.
Gabe, what's it like covering this team, covering this coach?
Like Dennis isn't great to cover. The press conferences are like, we've used the Michael Scott meme of like, sometimes I start a sentence and I just start talking and I don't know where it's going to go. The worst way to get an answer to a question is to ask Dennis directly. Like, if you want to know about Mark Mitchell, ask about anything but Mark Mitchell. At the same time, every now and then he will give you a little bit of a look into the humanity. I asked him, because Tyler Tanner's shot that was in the air to beat Missouri from half court, the way it was lined up, like Tanner was directly between the basket and where Dennis Gates stands. And I said, you had to have the best view of that, of anybody in the arena. What were you thinking when that ball's in the air? And he said, well, the first thing I thought is, oh, blank, because Mark Mitchell threw the ball too short and turned it over, And so after one of the wins earlier this year, he answered a question. He said, I would like to thank our guys for letting me be the biggest, another cuss word, in the world last week to get them ready to play this game. So every now and then you'll get something that I was just telling somebody earlier this week. I always feel like a huge victory when I manage to get a human response from Dennis Gates.
Jeez. That's kind of depressing.
One thing I love about Gabe is he's been around long enough to see him come and see him go. And he just kind of speaks. Yep. He kind of calls it like, calling balls and strikes over here. Matt Dixon, jump in here. As tonight, we're going to have a late one on our Garza Law Tennessee basketball overtime, a 9:00 local time start. We're going to have some midnight madness tonight. Matt, jump in.
Yeah, Gabe, you mentioned how volatile this Missouri team is. When things are going well, are there any kind of common themes that they do? And then on the flip side, when they get in those stretches where they play poorly, are there any kind of common themes there as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, when they're playing well, they shoot the ball well, right? That sounds dumb, but it's every team. When the ball goes in from outside, it really opens things up for Mark Mitchell and Sean Phillips down low. Sean Phillips being on the floor is very important. Like, the numbers aren't great, but he's kind of all they got at the 5. And, Sean Miller put it great because against Texas, Sean Phillips picked up 2 fouls in like 3 minutes. And I asked Miller, I said, what changes with Missouri's defense when Sean Phillips isn't on the floor? And he said, he makes every position bigger. And he said, in other words, Mark Mitchell at the power forward at 6'9", 230 or whatever is pretty big. 6'9", 230 at the 5 is not big. And when Mark Mitchell has to play the 5, then the 3 has to shift to the 4 and all that. So that the entire team becomes smaller at every position when he's off the floor. So I think that's going to be very important tonight. If JP Estrella plays, can Phillips stay out of foul trouble? I think that's a huge deal. If he doesn't play, I think that could be an edge for Missouri. When they're not playing well, they do 2 things. They turn the ball over. In the first 11 and a half minutes of the second half against Vandy, they had no turnovers. And that's when they got out to the 21-point lead. In the last 8.5 minutes, they had 7. And obviously Vandy made the huge comeback. And the second thing, when they're not playing well, it's just the defense, man. Like, they are giving up. About 2 months ago, I said, look, when every team shoots a season high from 3-point range against you, it ceases to be a coincidence. Like, you're not just unlucky that teams are shooting well. You're giving up looks. Their perimeter defense is not very good. And hey, sometimes teams still can't make them, right? We've seen teams miss open shots. But if teams are making open threes, I mean, I think Texas scored 1.7 points of possession in the second half against them. They scored on like 25 of 28 possessions. Vanderbilt went 11 of 14 in that comeback. So the defense is better than his last few teams have been. They don't force any turnovers. Like, his first 3 teams, they took the ball away all the time. They don't take the ball away at all. The half-court defense is a lot better, but when teams start to knock down perimeter shots, their defense really falls apart.
Sounds like they're going to have a little bit of a difficult time with Tennessee, the way you're describing this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, they play more similarly to Tennessee than they have in the past, right? I mean, I think, and Dennis has actually done pretty well against Tennessee,
yeah.
But this was almost a battle contrast in styles his first 3 years. Missouri wants to get out. They want to run. They want to force turnovers. They want to get up and down the court. We know Rick's teams want to play in the 60s. That's what they do. They're physical. They beat you up. Missouri is more similar to that this year, but they still have a really hard time. They are until Saturday against Arkansas, they were unbeaten when they score 73 points, and they hadn't won a game when they don't. So that's kind of the magic number. Now, they scored 86 against Arkansas and still got beat. Arkansas is a little bit of a different beast. I think it's one of the best offensive teams in the country. So, that rule kind of went out the window on Saturday.
Did they do that by design, or is that just the way the portal crumbles sometimes? And these are the players they ended up with.
Yeah, I think this is just kind of how it worked. He realized, like, there were a lot of people, myself included, who what they got in the portal last year, we looked at it and said, I don't know about this. Like, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They lost Caleb Grill and Tamar Bates, and they didn't really replace the shooting. They went out and they got Sebastian Mack from UCLA, who his biggest strength seemed to be getting to the free throw line. But like, it didn't make, he's like a 28% shooter. It didn't make a lot of sense. He hadn't played in Missouri's last 5 games.
Yeah.
Then really late, they go get a kid named Jaden Stone, who had played at Detroit, went to West Virginia last year, suffered a catastrophic injury in the preseason, did not play at all, so ended up getting an extra year. He literally got the first call from Missouri when he was in the hospital. Like, he told us before the season, I thought my career was over. I didn't think I was ever going to play again. He's their second leading scorer and probably their best 3-point shooter. So that has helped. But I think it was really, Dennis has always played like 9, 10, 11 guys. He plays 7 guys this year. Like, he just doesn't have enough guys, so he's had to change what he does.
The great Gabe DeArmond. On the way out, Gabe, football's practice is getting ready to start there. I was asking you off the air your early read on Missouri, and you said, talk about a roster flip. Walk us inside that deal.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 52 new players, and I don't think that's unusual. Like, my friend that covers Ole Miss told me they've got 56. I think it's just kind of what it is these days, unless you are one of these coaches who, and there aren't very many of them, who insist high school recruiting is still the way to do it. So, like, spring ball starts Friday, and I don't know what to expect, man. I mean, they're going to run the ball well because Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts are back and Caden Green's back on the offensive line, but they literally do not have a full-time defensive starter back from last year. So anybody, I laugh when everybody's putting up these top 25s in preseason. Dude, you don't even know what your own team has. Don't pretend you know what anybody else has. Like, I couldn't tell you anything about Tennessee except it appears that Joey Aguilar is not the quarterback. That is the extent of my knowledge about Tennessee this year.
You know what the truth is about all these teams? It's going to take us a month of watching and paying attention to figure out who has what. And that's the truth,
No
John.
question.
He's exactly right.
It's a real problem for the bookies.
Oh, they're getting smoked that first month of the season. Watch it. And that's, you talk about a soft target, because it takes them a good 3 weeks to a month to kind of catch up to what, because they have these models and they have to predict off these models. But like Gabe's saying, who knows, man? It's crazy. It's fun to watch, Gabe. It's made college football, to me, a little more compelling. It's a little ridiculous, but it's compelling.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, you know, I think it kind of drives everybody nuts. And there's a lot of fans who are like, how am I supposed to even get to know who's on the team? Or, like, there's no more following this guy as he redshirts and develops in 4 years and all that. Guess what? Missouri fans love Ahmad Hardy. He's been here 1 year, but, like, that's fine. You know, you love it when it works for you and you hate it when it goes against you.
Yeah. And, it's crazy how you can get attached to people, or now if you're at some place for 2 years, you've had a long career.
And here's another aspect of this with the NIL. I'm sure Ahmad Hardy's getting some money, okay? Well, prior to this era, though, a running back, he's only got so much tread on the tires. He's got a short career span, and he's off to the NFL. Mm-hmm. Now he can make good money and stay another year in college. In Hardy's case, he's a terrific running back. Jamal Roberts.
Yeah, but like the flip side of that is, I mean, I still think you should go when you can go. Look at JT Toppin, the kid at Texas Tech, basketball player. I mean, he could have gone last year. Was he a first-round pick? I don't know, but he'd have been drafted. And, yeah, he got paid, and now he tore his ACL. Is he going to get drafted in June? I'm not sure, man. I think – and the problem is I think a lot of these kids, they just look at, well, I can make $1 million next year, which is as much or more as I can make in the pros next year. Yeah, but what about the 3 years after that when you sign a rookie deal? You know, and I think that there aren't enough people advising these kids on what's 4 years down the road, as opposed – and don't get me wrong, man, 21 years old, somebody handed me $1 million check, I'd have signed it, no questions asked. So I get it. But there needs to be somebody telling these kids, you know what, you go to the pros, you're setting yourself up, man. You're a year closer to this second payday.
Gabe DeArmond, if a living listener wants to read your stuff or interact with you, how do they do so? And I appreciate you, my brother.
Yeah, just go over to PowerMizzou.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network, or at PowerMizzou.com on Twitter. And hey, I'm sure you guys have talked about it a ton, but we moved to 24/7 about a year and a half ago. I didn't get to know Wes Rucker well, but obviously we crossed paths here for a little bit, and just thoughts with everybody out in Knoxville that knows him, and what an awful thing that was last week to see.
Oh, buddy, man. Thank you for acknowledging that, and I hope you have a great day. Be blessed, brother.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Take care, Gabe.
Gabe DeArmond, one more time. The outpouring from the community toward Wes Rucker's family has just been I don't even know what to say. It's breathtaking because it's an unspeakable tragedy. It's horrendous.
It's really sad. You know, I knew Wes, and I thought it brought me, you know, it was kind of personal in a way, because thinking about his unborn child and a 4-year-old, my dad died when I was 2, so I never really knew him, and I heard stories about him from other people. He was a very popular guy, and I heard a lot of stories, but I didn't know him, and Wes's children won't have any memory of their dad. I mean, they will hear the stories. It's just really, it's really tragic, and just sickening.
Yeah, and when you've been through it, like in your life, because I was talking to somebody that you and I both know who lost a father when he was young, and he said, you know, when you hear that, it jars you because it takes you back, you know.
Sure.
And it's
and you never, it's something you never get over it. Mm-hmm. Even though I have no memory of being 2, I was impacted by that loss. Anybody that loses a loved one at that stage of life is going to be impacted.
All right, guys, let's take the quiz. We'll go around the room with Matt and John. We did this yesterday.
Thought you said we weren't doing that.
No, well, I said we're going to do Gabe, because we got Marky Mark and the Lunchy Bunch coming up, which is your Happy Time Hoops Hour featuring Mark Griffin.
By the way, JT Toppin, we were just discussing the Texas Tech All-American that's out with an ACL.
Yeah.
He was making $4 million with Texas Tech this year. He's a junior. He'll come back next year, rehab the knee, come back. They'll pay him. He'll probably be able to play next February.
Yeah. The only thing against those guys doing that, and it's the only thing, is you don't get that NBA service time toward the pension. But if you're a fringe guy like he is, and you're a one contract guy, what's the point anyway? I stay in college. Like under today's system, Keon Johnson and Jaden Springer do not leave early like they did. They just don't.
No.
They don't. And now if you're a lottery pick, leave early, go have fun, have at it. Like Nate Ament, that's a no-brainer. You're going to be one of the top 10 picks. Here we go. Matt Dixon and John Adams. No Joey football. Your concern level for the 2026 season, 1 to 10 scale, 10's the highest. Matt, what's it do to you when you hear no Joey football?
I mean, it raises it from maybe a 4 or 5 to probably a 6 or 7.
Okay. John?
8.
Okay. Wow. Basketball team, that win at Vanderbilt, do you find Tennessee now, because they could jump seed lines, they could get to a 3. That's what they've done here with that win. They've opened the door. They've got to probably win the rest of them, although David in Chattanooga did a great write-up today on the blog featuring all the teams that are involved with Tennessee, where they are on Ken Palm, their remaining schedules left. Now, it went to press last night, so there were a couple results in there for last night for a couple teams that Tennessee's kind of grouped in with. With the basketball team's win at Vanderbilt, the Vols are now an Elite 8 contender. 1 to 10 scale. 10 says they're going. Matt Dixon.
The Elite 8?
Yes. Do you find them an Elite 8 contender now?
I mean, they can certainly get there, but I mean, I'd put that at maybe a 3.
John?
I'd say a 4. Free throw shooting.
Baseball team is really concerning after 2 weekends of play. 1 to 10 scale. 10 is a 5-alarm fire. Matt Diskin, what do you say?
No, it's still like a 2 or a 3. But it hadn't changed after the weekend, even though it was just a really bad weekend. Nothing changes going forward.
John?
I'd say about a 5. I think losing a home series to a MAC team is very unusual given the success of the program. So and the fact I was really surprised Tennessee didn't hit more against Kent State. MAC pitching. Maybe their first starter would be really tough. I've seen that with lower mid-major teams.
Yeah.
They'll have a lights out one starter, but the fact Tennessee didn't score what it scored, 10 runs in 3 games against a MAC team, that would be concerning to me.
The LOB numbers are so high. They're just having trouble. And Matt wrote about this today. The situational hitting this weekend was atrocious for a team of Tennessee's level.
Yeah, I think the players on this team really like their coach.
Yeah.
Josh Elander, and it's his first year. I wonder if they might be guilty of trying too hard, pressing a little bit. I know it's early in the season. I know it's non-conference. But I think they understand the situation. Josh Elander's following the best baseball coach in Tennessee history. And
maybe the best baseball coach the SEC's ever seen. But he didn't get a chance to do it, but that might have been what it was.
Well, he may get
he was
another
the
chance
Nick Saban
later.
Deal.
He may get another chance later.
Matt, what was your biggest surprise from that weekend?
It would have to be the hitting and just the lack of, and we mentioned the situational stuff. Just the fielding, the defensive stuff is, especially early in the year, is kind of expected from all teams. The hit batters where you're playing a team that just crowds the plate. But just the really poor hitting, and especially in key spots with guys on base, they were just some really bad swing decisions when they had advantage counts too. Have like 2 on with no outs and have like a 2-0 count, and then ground into a double play or even a 3-0 count with runners on, and you have like an infield pop up, just really bad situationally. So,
yeah, the Levi Clark thing is really puzzling to me because he comes out last year and starts like gangbusters. And then at this level, they're going to get tape on you. They're going to figure out your tendencies, and they're going to feed you till you adjust. And Matt, they cannot keep hitting that kid fourth till he finds himself, can they? He's borderline. He's like me up there. He has like no chance of competing right now.
No, he's really, really struggling. Can't catch up to fastballs, even these kind of low 90s, upper 80s fastballs that Kent State was throwing.
How do you figure that?
I hate it because I think he's got a really, really good approach at the plate, and got some crazy power. But yeah, he's just struggles catching up to fastballs, and as long as he keeps chasing sliders and things like that away, I mean, why throw him those?
John,
especially below the belt.
John, how do you figure that a kid that looked like that the first month of the season last year, where everybody's just laughing and we got this guy, and by the way, Georgia and LSU made a huge run at him in the offseason, and Georgia tried to get him back too. I mean, that's something Tony told me, but LSU went hard at him. So obviously it's in there somewhere, or those programs aren't fooling around with it, even with the way he kind of fell off the table last year. But man, he looks lost in space right now.
Well, that's kind of the nature of this game.
Yep.
You see a guy, he, as you said, started out like gangbusters as a freshman, hitting non-conference pitching very well. But of course, the major leagues is the greatest example of that. But at any level of baseball, anytime you get a scouting report on a guy and you spot a weakness in his swing, a pitch he struggles with, that's all he's going to see. And so it's up to the hitter to adjust. I remember talking to Todd Helton about adjustments in his career when he was announced he was in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He talked about having trouble with the changeup initially. And Todd, of course, he was a tremendous work ethic. He got in that batting cage and he worked and worked and worked until that was no longer a weakness. But you can't ignore it, and you can't think, well, this will go away. It's just a bad. If you're having a problem with a pitch,
yeah,
you've got to focus on that and you got to attack it.
We're all human. And we all go through peaks and valleys and ruts, and that's in a day-to-day thing. And it is so hard when you're playing one of those sports that they call like a failure sport. whether you're pitching,
well, sure,
or hitting, or fielding, and something gets in the back of your mind. I watch a lot of like musicians online, and there's this guy named Shane Terrio who's from your neck of the woods, one of those great Cajun kids.
Terrio, it's a good Louisiana name.
Yeah, and he's a really cool guy, but he's very honest. He's a very accomplished musician, played with a ton of acts, and he's a great player. But he has a great spirit about him because he's sort of an open door. He said, hey, look, a few years ago, I started losing my ability to articulate with that instrument in my hand. In other words, I'm a professional, and I went to hit a note, and I would slip, or I was not doing what I wanted to do. He said, so I called a guy, it's a great teacher in New York. And the guy said, okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to play these scales. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, da. You're going to play those as slow as you can. He said he broke me down to the slowest possible low. He said it was humiliating. He said, but I had to go back and rebuild myself just mentally to get back to a spot where I felt comfortable doing it. And I just think it's an interesting thing when you think about somebody that spends thousands of hours with an instrument that can kind of lose it. And then then it gets in your head, which is what he said. He said, then I'm on stage and all of a sudden I'm going, am I going to be able to execute this? Am I not going to be able to execute it? And I'm thinking about poor Levi Clark Saturday when I'm watching him. And he looks like he wants to be anywhere else but in that batter's box, Matt, when he's batting fourth. There's traffic on base. I just feel sorry for the kid. That's a tough spot, man.
Hitting a baseball is really difficult. I think other than playing NFL quarterback, it's the hardest thing to do in sports.
Let's move along. Something else that's kind of mental.
Oh,
right?
we were doing a quiz, weren't we?
Yeah.
Are we done with the quiz?
Lady Ball Hoops under Kim Caldwell. Kim Caldwell is in deep doo-doo. 1 to 10 scale. John, 10 is she's cooked.
I'd say about 5 or 6.
Wow. That's a higher number than I thought you'd give it. Somebody that follows that sport.
Well,
why do you say that?
Just knowing this fan base as I do and knowing what's expected. I mean, this is an iconic program. And
they're not into patience with that program.
No, they're not. I mean, it doesn't matter that she had 2 coaches before her, Holly Warlick and Kelly Harper. She had 2 coaches in between. Whoever comes still is following Pat Summitt because she was here for so long. And that's where the fan base was built. And so when you look at what Kim came in with, a very extreme system. And right now it's not working. I see it as transitional because this year she was able to go out and got some talented players. Talented players aren't as apt to be enamored with this system is players who rely more on effort, hustle, and that kind of thing. She inherited those kind of players. And so she had a great first year. She was competitive against the best teams in the country, beat the eventual national title.
With the lunch pail kids that got into shape.
Yes. And they just worked so hard. They
got this kid from UCLA. They got this other kid from over here. They spent a lot of money in the portal, obviously.
Yes. But see,
the Pow kids from Philly,
I think the talented players, they're used to being on the floor more. They're used to, in playing full court defense wears them out. And they don't want to be tired when they're putting up a jump shot. They don't want to have tired legs. So Caldwell is adjusting. She's not making it. She's not announcing it to the world. But she's got her some starting players now playing in the 30s in terms of minutes. She's not pressing as much as she once did. They've been more selective in their 3-pointers recently. And this is what she's got to do. She's never been in this situation where she's had really talented players. Talasia Cooper is a top player. I mean, she's one of the best players in the SEC. Very talented, can do pretty much everything. Her effort wavers sometimes, but in terms of talent,
she's like when we're watching. Laura goes, the skill. She goes, that's like a native Ment kind of skill level. This in her sport.
She's very talented.
Like the skill level is just for that sport. It's just off. She can put it on the floor. She can go around you. And then she does things. She does things on defense where she just doesn't care. Like she just kind of let you go by her.
Well, and you've former Lady Vol player Andrea Carter, who's now
we played it yesterday.
Oh, you played it? Okay.
What do you make of? Because Candace Parker said you should keep it all in house. You never say that stuff publicly when you're one of us. And it always stays in house. There's no place for that. Basically, called her disloyal, essentially. But Candace Parker's with the Adidas brand that they're getting ready to pick up. Candace Parker was involved in getting this $1 million player they got next year. That's a
no doubt about it.
That's a not guarded secret at all.
No, but
so she's got skin in the game. But what do you make of her comments?
I thought Andrea Carter's comments are. It was kind of like she's a national broadcaster.
Yes,
now. She's very good at her job.
She's excellent.
And so but I thought she came across in the diatribe. She came across more as a Lady Vol, like a frustrated fan. This isn't working, my man. Instead of as a professional broadcaster, which she is, and she's good at her job.
Now that's interesting.
I think you should be in her position. I get tired of these announcers favoring their team. Like former players, they always talk about, they care about their team. But when you're in a role and you're covering a national tournament, you shouldn't be giving your alma mater any more credit or discredit than you would any team. So I think it's fair for her to comment, but I thought it came across as more like frustrated with the way the team was performing and as a member of the program. There's a real deep allegiance to this program by former players. I talked to some former players. They aren't enthralled with this system and what's going on. Keep in mind, a bad year for the Lady Vols is still perceived as making it no further than the Sweet 16.
Well, how about this? People were reminding me, and we're celebrating the fact yesterday, which is kind of interesting. And I got a passionate email from a guy I'm going to run tomorrow who said, hey, ease up on this coach. They were 1 second away from the Elite Eight last year, or one shot away, or they were so close to going to the Elite Eight and lost a game in the Sweet 16. I'm sitting there going, boy, how the once mighty have fallen when that's –
I know, but –
when you go to the Sweet 16 and get beaten close – but it was her first year. Here's the thing about it. She did a great job with her own with the first year players. She brings in her own, and they literally are borderline. And the only reason I'm watching it is because it's kind of a train wreck. And I admitted on the air, I said after she called her team out, I will watch every second from here on out of these games that are competitive because it's very combustible from a talk radio perspective. And I had no idea that we're going to have Lady Vol and Lady Vol crime. Like we've had here, but that makes it a little more interesting because we had a discussion yesterday. There are a lot of football players that will go, or basketball players that will get on the radio but won't really say what they think. Andrea Carter got right in that microphone and said exactly what she was pissed when she said it too. She was like, look, you play this system, I don't care who you put on the floor. You're shooting these ridiculous 3 balls. You're going to give up tons of rebounds. It's going to be a layup drill at the other end of the floor. Keep playing this way, and you're going to keep winning 16 games. And she meant it, too, when she said it.
Well, we've talked about this before, but what Caldwell is doing is the system she plays is really good for a different type program.
Yep.
And it's good when you have lesser talent, as Tennessee had last season.
Which is why you asked her that question. You've been kind of vindicated. It's why you asked her that question.
Well,
no, it's not about you. I know.
Okay.
But you've been vindicated.
Well, but I think so now she's got to adjust.
And she is adjusting.
She is adjusting.
Yeah.
So that's why I think next season will be more telling. What she has to do is think about how important is it to me to play this system. If I've got to prove that this system works at this level,
go back to Marshall. That's what you need to do, really. If you're going to go play that system, because you can't play that way, unless you start recruiting a different type of player and you just go for lunch pail kids that will take the line changes and
the thing is with those kind of players, so you can make the Sweet 16 with those kind of players, but that's just not good enough with Tennessee. And the other factor is, she's had an opportunity to get better players, to get elite players because of Tennessee's NIL foundation. They've got a lot of money to play with.
Who isn't going to take them? Like somebody told me, hey, there's some high risk kids on our team. Okay, who's not going to take high risk kids? Everybody's going to take high risk kids.
Yeah, it depends.
Except Rick Barnes. Rick Barnes isn't going to do it.
Well, it depends on how many you take, and it also depends on how strong a coach you are, how strong your personality is.
But she's just a kid. That's tough.
Well,
when you're Rick Barnes, you can look at somebody and go, "Hey,
well, Rick Barnes. I mean, Rick Barnes has coached he coached Kevin Durant.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, he's got credibility. He can say that's not how we do it, and you're going to listen to him.
It's a real interesting thing to think about and to consider. And Matt, that thing about former players calling out their team, that just doesn't happen, man, in any sport. That's a unique thing and that's why I talked about it yesterday, not only from that perspective of what's going on here locally, but just around the sport itself. Very seldom do you see somebody speak that passionately about you never see Kirk Herbstreit go in on Ohio State football, ever. You never see the guy at Michigan that's up there, who I like. He's a big like record collector, and Desmond Howard, he's kind of a cool dude. But you never see him do those sorts of things. That was very unique, Matt. And I think a good thing, by the way. I don't have a problem with it. Do you, Matt?
No, I mean, I think it goes on more than we're giving it credit for, but not on that kind of platform on national TV. I just think it's pretty obvious that she just got a wrong roster that just doesn't fit what she wants to do.
Yep.
And maybe I do think there might be some internal kind of culture problems within the locker room. It seems like with all the stuff that happens off the court.
That's exactly
that we've heard about.
Oh.
But it's just a roster that doesn't work, and they're going to try to figure out. We'll see how it ends. But it's just crazy to me. I think there's so many parallels between the Lady Vols right now and Kentucky's men's team, with the second-year coaches who were really good in year one with kind of a makeshift roster, but then they just put a ton of money into their year two team and get a bunch of players that don't fit, and it just doesn't work. It's kind of interesting. I think there's just so many parallels there.
Well, that's a good point. And you look at coaches, they have to think about, do they want to get the best players they can?
Yep.
Or do they want to get the best players for their system?
I'll tell you this, because Mark Pope had his hot mic moment over the weekend after that game, and I think he did it on purpose.
What did he say?
He said, don't let them find me. Matt, the exact quote was what? Because the officiating, it was in the midst of a call that happened against Kentucky that never goes against them on the road at Auburn, and I mean never. That's never called against Kentucky basketball. A shove, a push off. And really, it was
I saw that.
How Auburn won the game. That's never called against Kentucky. It's never been called against Kentucky. It doesn't happen. It won't happen. It shouldn't have happened. But I want to bring Marky Mark in on the other side. The Lunchy Bunch will commence. It's Marky Mark and the Lunchy Bunch. The Mark Griffin Happy Time Hoops Hour. Hoops Time Happy Hour. John Adams is presented by Jennifer Morris. Next move, SmokyMountains.com. She of Keller Williams. She's absolutely, without a doubt, completely 100% next level. And we'll come back on the other side right after this.
5.7 and AM 1340. WKGN Knoxville and W289CU Knoxville. Fanrun Radio.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
When it's time for a fresh coat of paint, run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. Interior and exterior, Walker's Painting's been making it beautiful since 1999 across the Knoxville area. New construction, repaints, commercial, residential, free estimates available. And get this, mention you heard Walker's Painting on the Basilio Show, 10% off your first job. Let's go! Run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. 865-688-1410. That's 865-688-1410. Walker's Painting, making it beautiful since 1999. Check out the ad at the blog at tclub.team. Walker's Painting.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
When a dangerous, overgrown, or storm-damaged tree is threatening your home, your car, or your family, don't risk it. Call ECR Total Landscapes, your local tree-cutting experts. From precision tree removal and trimming to emergency storm cleanup, ECR Total Landscapes has the equipment and the experience to get the job done safely and efficiently. Call today to set up your free estimate, 865-384-2012, or just go online to ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama's Easy approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols.
Newsflash, Basilio listeners. The spring real estate market just moved up. Yes, it's chilly outside and you're still in your puffy coat, but if you need to sell your East Tennessee property, you could be the hottest house on the block. Hi there. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. February is the sweetheart month of real estate, and savvy sellers know exactly what that means. Get ahead of the game and give me a call at 865-694-5904 or reach out at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols!
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
VIP Play coming soon. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Achillio here, and my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair. and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company. TB back with you, 865-200-5402. It's unbelievable, Andy. As we welcome you back, it is the Happy Time Hoops Hour, ladies and gentlemen. The great Mark Griffin's in the house. We are fired up. We're focused. We're prepared for him. We might do a little overtime today. I don't know. But we have a lot to talk about because it's Tennessee, Missouri. We have Garza Law, Tennessee basketball overtime tonight. And we have very little time to get there. So as we bring you in here and begin our second hour with our Happy Time Hoops Hour, a.k.a. Marky Mark and the Lunchy Bunch. Hey, Mark, you were on the scene for the Vanderbilt game over the weekend. Matt Dixon post-game show, and I was on with Matt and Maury Hanks. Tonight it'll be Matt, myself, and Brian Hartman post-game. But, Griff, Matt declared might have been Tennessee's best or second-best win of the year. That was a heck of a basketball game that we were treated to in Memorial Gymnasium on Saturday, Mark.
Oh, for both sides. I mean, did I ever feel at any point the last 5 minutes that Tennessee was going to secure that victory? Not at all. Not till the very end, which I'm sure y'all have talked about ad nauseum. But, I mean, I was so impressed with Bishop Boswell and the confidence that he exuded on the court at the end, and some of the plays that occurred that may not have been discussed to assist Ament's big shot. Of course, everybody's focusing on the big shot. But, I know we may get into this a little bit about chemistry, but the guys that were on the court really stuck it out. Gillespie didn't make that bonehead end-of-game turnover, to get Vanderbilt right back in it. Ty Tanner, which I'm a little surprised he wasn't more aggressive at the end, taking more shots. But just every possession was a battle. And I just kept saying the whole time, get a stop, get a stop, get a stop. And you could just feel the crowd as well saying, get a stop, get a stop. Every possession. I think Tennessee went down by 7 was the largest margin that I recall. Lots of fantastic Tennessee fans in attendance. A lot of Vanderbilt supporters upset that happened, but that's going to happen. I was even surprised there were that many. I thought maybe 20, 25%, but it had to be 35% or so.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. The section I was in was more Tennessee fans than Vandy, and I was on the second level. I wasn't behind the basket where you have most of the people that have the allotment available. Loud. I know, you mentioned off the air about, refereeing and stuff. I didn't weigh into that as much. I mean, Ament's getting banged, but you know what? He's causing that. And that's the great thing that you're seeing about his growth is that he is jumping into players, causing contact, and yet still getting his shot off because he's at an upward trajectory. And what I talked about earlier in the show, earlier episodes, was he was jumping into guys with a downward trajectory, and that's why they were blocking his shot. and wasn't getting to the free throw line. Well, obviously he's been really working on that. Is he going to get banged? Yes, he's going to continue. That is the way. Coach Barnes even said that. John, you were there. He said, if I was opposing team, I'd bang him too. That's just going to happen. But I think he's able to play through that. He's faced everything he needs to face moving forward. So it was just a great win. And it was just shocking to me because I really didn't think they would win, Tony, at this game. Now, I was hoping for progress, see some improvement in certain things, but Vandy is so good at home. And it just says a lot for the preparation. It says a lot for the tenacity and the team to stick together.
Mark, you said you were with the Tennessee contingent. And by the way, that move, that the way Amen is going into defenders and then making his shot, that kind of reminded me of you years ago. Even out on the perimeter, you would go into the defender and then launch your shot. When you were there amongst the fans, you were just with Tennessee fans, or I was wondering if there was any much interaction or hostility between the two fan bases.
Where I was sitting, John, I was upper level, like right corner facing the basket. Pretty good mix, but it was majority Tennessee fans, and it was funny. I kept hearing several obnoxious Tennessee fans yelling more than I did any concerns between Vanderbilt and Tennessee fans. The Vanderbilt fans, to me, were fantastic.
I love it.
They weren't rude as let's say Tennessee fans were, but some of these Tennessee fans in particular definitely got their money's worth because they were shouting so loudly, and I loved it. I was just glad I wasn't sitting right next to this one couple. But you know what? That's part of it. A lot of passion. I even made a comment during the game. I'm like, you know what? This may be this couple's only time ever to see Tennessee this year because of the Danny White tariff. So let's take advantage of it and let them enjoy.
And Griff, ladies and gentlemen, getting off as Danny White catches his first stray of the Happy Time Hoops Hour. Griff, some people were commenting in our chat even today when I talked about how I love the way Saturday's game was officiated. I'm going to let the players decide things, Guy. Obviously, it affected his shooting. He was 3 of 13 from the field. He just kind of wasn't himself. Were they allowing too much rough stuff to go, Griff, or in your mind, is that a properly officiated college basketball game?
You know, it's funny when you mentioned it earlier, I never even thought about it being so rough. Yes, if you're going to key in on Amen, I just think if you look at each of his shots, and as John mentioned even earlier, how many of them were contact shots, him jumping into someone versus a hand being placed on his elbow or arm or anything like that. It didn't even come to play like, oh man, we're getting a bad call. Vanderbilt at the end of the game, Cherokee, McLaughlin, both had 4 fouls with at least 5 minutes left in the game. We had Akpara, got his 4th late in the game, but it's not like you had 4 guys with 4 fouls. Letting them play, fine. Let them play. The guys would rather play than have a close call. Let it be physical. And Vanderbilt's a physical team, but Tennessee's more physical. That's one of their strengths is how physical they are inside. And we didn't even have Estrella.
No, and that's why the win's so impressive because there's no Estrella. And Brian Hartman, you wanted to make a point about the last several games, which I think bears repeating.
Yeah, the last 4 games since the Kentucky loss, they've learned how to close them out. They were only up 5 against Mississippi State on the road after State made that incredible 18-0 run, but they outscored them, I think, 10-6 down the stretch to win by 9. And then at LSU, they were down 3 points with about 12 minutes to go and closed them out with a 30-17 run before Oklahoma comes in, who only trailed by 6 because Pack was making every shot literally in sight with 6:18 left. And then they went on a 21-4 run to make that look like a complete blowout, although the game was a lot closer than the 89-66 final score suggested. And then against Vandy, they trailed 63-60 with 2.5 left and finished on a 9-2 spurt to close out the Commodores. So they're learning how to finish games late coming into March, which is a very good sign, I think.
And Mark, for a couple games in a row, they've had the freshmen on the floor late. They've had Brown and Evans out there as they've closed these games out. What's the significance of that as they've closed these games?
Well, obviously Barnes and staff has settled on a rotation, and the more playing time these guys get, the more confidence that they get. And like Brian mentioned, great memory, Brian, but these guys have a great memory. You try to have a short-term memory in basketball like you do pretty much in all sports, but when things are going well, you try to hang on to the past because you hope that continues in the future with the same effort. There's some guys that have just are not playing now, which is interesting. You look at Abram, he's not sniffing the court.
No.
And my boy Iceberg, who's definitely not freezing as much on the court, so I'm going to have to give him a new nickname. And he's really stepped it up as well. And I'm really excited about him because the couple times I saw him practice when he came over from Israel, he was playing so well. And then when he got on the court, he would just freeze. And, that's another option for Barnes to bring in if you have any of your wing players get into foul trouble. We haven't seen as much of Henderson, and I don't think we will. With Berg's emergence and his physicality, he's just a lot bigger and stronger.
That's why they got him
than Henderson.
Yep.
No knock on Henderson at all. No knock on Abram. I mean, these kids. One thing I loved watching Abram when I was at the Oklahoma game. Berg had a really bad turnover, and of course Barnes took him out. And I'm right next to the bench, fortunately, and Abram had his arm around Berg, encouraging him. And I thought, this is the greatest thing to see. Because even if he's not playing, he's encouraging his teammates.
Yep.
He wasn't in front of the camera. Coaching staff didn't see it. And that's huge. And I think that's what can really carry a team. Because I know, guys, I've played on teams where I'm like, man, if this guy just turned the ball over, maybe I'll get a shot. Because it's all about me getting on the floor. And yes, we want to win, but you want to be on the court to win. And when you're not on the court, you're pissed.
I love
seeing these guys are upset, but they're encouraging each other.
That's honesty right there, because it's competitive. And competition breeds, and if your culture is good, you won't get the backbiting over the minutes because you really want to win at the end of the day. Speaking of which, Barnes just appeared on John Rothstein's podcast. And he said the following. Rothstein asked him, what's the best win of your entire career? What would you say, Rick Barnes? Well, how would you say he answered that, John? What would you think? Best win of his entire career. You ready for what he said? You ready, Vol fan?
He said his first one.
He said it hasn't happened yet. My best win has not happened yet. He also said, I'll tell you this freshman class we've signed is the best one we've signed since I've been here. Now, for people wanting to push Barnesy out the door, I don't see the man. Doesn't sound to me like he's going to doing the retirement tour talk right now. Matt, what do you make of those two answers to John Rothstein? TGMD.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. I kind of interesting. Obviously feeling pretty good and, feeling good about his team right now. So that's really cool to hear.
John, what do you say to that? He's not doing the retirement tour thing right now.
But I really didn't think he was doing the retirement tour thing. I mean, some fans bring that up and
him talking about that freshman class like that though, and my best win of my career hasn't happened yet, tells me this is a man who's approaching this with a lot of gas in his gas tank in this era. This thing has totally changed out from under him, and they've somehow figured out a way to manage a pretty highly priced payroll They've introduced this guy who's slowly become their team leader, and I don't see any issues with it. Do you detect that at all on the floor?
No, and I think
that's tricky.
I think Rick Barnes is probably encouraged by the fact that he has NIL support in this era. Tennessee's done a nice job of adding transfers. Not just, Nate Amin, of course, is a freshman. He's a unusual example. I'm a little surprised that he's that high on the freshman class. I would expect, we talked about this before, how they pinpoint future transfers in the portal before they're ever in the portal and looking ahead to next season.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good sign for Tennessee basketball because you assume Nate Amin will move on to the pros.
Yeah.
But if he's got that good a foundation with younger players, and then he can supplement it with transfers, then Tennessee, I guess, will keep winning.
Mark Griffin, you of the impresario here of the Happy Time Hoops Hour, are you surprised to hear him talk like that? And what about the way they've been able to acclimate this wonderful freshman into now he's the leader of the basketball team? It's just very interesting to watch this.
Well, I'm not surprised to hear Coach speak, and I call it Coach speak because he's just still looking into the future, and as coaching staff, you want to look into the future and know that bright things are ahead and keep it optimistic publicly, and then at the same time during practice, he's just breaking these guys down, and it's a whole different talk, I guarantee you, to the players. Not that he's lambasting them, but you've got to keep them sharp, and you can't let them rest. One of the things that is concerning when you see the improvement in a team is at what level will they continue? Will they take the brakes off? Missouri could be a trap game. I'm really concerned about this game tonight, guys. I really am. Can they win this game? Yes. Could they lose this game? Oh, yes, because of how much it means to Missouri, which I know we'll get into. But, it's very promising to see what they've got going on over there. And I'm sure the sales of the program guides are going up, and they've got the Danny White tax on that because they're going to need to, because every year you're going to have so many different players coming in for one season. You'll get to know them, and then off they'll go. They're going to lose Gillespie. You're going to lose Ament. You're going to lose Akpara. Who else will depart? Who will come in? It'll be interesting. It'll be fun, and we'll cheer who's wearing the orange and white, and it'll be nice to see Barnes on the sideline with them.
Mark, you talk about coach speak, but in this case, to me, Rick Barnes would be going above and beyond. He doesn't have to be that complimentary. He could say something more general, a little more vague about, I think we've got some promising young players on this team. But to say what he did, that's kind of above the usual coach speak.
They love the guy. They love the guy from Pittsburgh. They're freaked out that this Brown guy is as good as he is, as early as he is. You're starting to see them introduce the other guard as the year goes along. He's on the floor at the end of games now. 2 true freshmen, along with Ament, three freshmen. Of course, one will be gone next year, but that's pretty significant. And as Brian said, they're all of a sudden learning how to close games. The other thing that they've learned how to do, Griff, that I want to get into on the other side, as well as this Missouri game. Well, let's talk about this. Mark, the belief is that defensively they've kind of taken a next step, and they're pointing to the fact that Akpara is become more attentive to detail, as well as Gillespie on the defensive end. Lay it on me.
Well, when Akpara was recruited, he wasn't recruited to be a scorer. I followed him at Ohio State. I saw him play at EAB when he was in high school. He was always a presence inside to alter shots and block shots. And then he has this, 2-foot jump hook, and then we'll get a few lobs from Gillespie. or, Bishop Boswell. And that was sufficient for his role as a team. I think people were expecting Akpar to be a 12-point scorer per game. It's not needed. It's really not. He is one of the defensive stoppers for this program. His length is incredible, adds a lot. And what was neat watching Gillespie up close last week is I love watching how he stays in a stance. And you can tell he's really been working on that with the staff. And what I mean by stance is he's not standing straight up when you're turning players, trying to make them rotate from left to right. A lot of guys will lift up. They get a little tired, so they stand up. He'll what's called stay in a stance, mean stay low to the ground. Yep. Active arms. And when you watch him tonight, I think people should definitely look for that and see how low he plays to the ground with his arms moving, because that really frustrates an opposing guard. If you, for example, if you can get a guard to stand up while you're going left to right, that's when you blow by, because they're not at a low enough level that they can pivot quick enough, and you get a competitive advantage. But Gillespie's done a great job of improvement of what we call staying in a stance, which has been really exciting to see.
Buffalo stance, if you will, Griff. Nana Cherry.
Excuse me?
I give you half a chance. You're in the Buffalo stance. Do you guys not remember that?
Never heard of it.
Griff remembers it.
Lady sang it. I forgot her name.
But. Yeah, Nana Cherry. Maybe we'll get Cherry. Maybe we'll get Titans Bill on here at some point to sing it.
What is that? Laurie just gave
cough medicine, Robitussin.
What's wrong?
I have some congestion.
It's not. Is it contagious?
Heck no. It's this time of the year, man.
One thing that's consistent about Tony is there's an ailment.
As we continue with more, Hour 2 continues. The Happy Time Hoops Hour, we preview Missouri after this. Are you currently a residential electrician? Would you like more benefits, better pay, more upside? What about a $3,000 signing bonus? Free company paid health insurance, annual profit share, company vehicle, gas card, much more. Call Advent Electric today. Advent, known for their large commercial jobs around town, and due to high demand, they're adding additional roles for their residential department. Maybe you know a friend, family member that's a residential electrician. Spread the word. Email hr@adventelectric.com. hr@adventelectric.com. 865-588-0631 and ask for the Tony B 3K signing bonus. Advent Electric is hiring. You got to dream about buying some land and building on that land. Well, Waterside Contracting is your ticket. 25 years of making dreams come true, Michael Scott. For hundreds in our area, custom homes or remodels, Waterside Contracting will build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise. It's a way of life with Waterside Contract. Check out the wonderful work Waterside does. WatersideContractingLLC.com. When it's time for your dreams to come true. Quality without compromising. Waterside Contracting.
College football fans, Chris Fowler here with the play call. This season, go for Dose with ice-cold, refreshing Dos Equis. It's more than a single play. It's a mindset. Think of it as a 2-point conversion for real life. Taking the risk, making the bold move. Whenever we get the chance to go big, we take it. On the field and off, always go for Dose with Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis Lager Especial Beer. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy, That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care. I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Basilio here with my buddy, Connexio Kristen.
Hey, Tony. Good to see ya. Connexio builds fleet technology that helps transportation and logistics companies win big. Live GPS, easy ELD and compliance tools, AI dash cameras, and asset tracking, all backed by the #1 U.S. customer support team. Want a better playbook for your Connexio.com/Tony. That's KONEXIAL.com/Tony. Connexio, built for drivers, trusted by fleets, and proud Vol fans.
Tony Basilio here, and I got the great Chad Stockton of FC Alliance 2026. Chad, do you believe we've made it?
Boys and girls teams start off the new year at big national event showcases. We got our younger kids training indoors and doing a lot of things to get better. So we're excited about what the future holds.
Chad, I hear the juice behind you. I hear the kids. Your program reaches throughout East Tennessee. If folks want to get involved, what's the advice?
We're easy to get in touch with. We offer players at all ages, all levels, all experience. We have a program for all of our kids that we have, and we're excited for anyone to join us.
And even some Lady Vols as well. Several college players all over the country, yes?
Absolutely. We had a lot of girls that we were able to watch play in the NCAA tournament. A lot of our former players made big runs through the tournament. We're so excited.
Of the World Cup in North America, celebrate the beautiful game. Get your child involved. FCAllianceKnox.org. That's FCAllianceKnox.org. And Chad, thank you, man. Keep growing the beautiful game.
Absolutely, Tony. And thank you very much.
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
From the sunrise over the Smokies to the Saturday cheers at Neyland Stadium, Knoxville isn't just where we live, it's home. But let's be honest. Finding your perfect spot in a hot market can feel like a full-time job. Whether you're looking for a craftsman in 4th and Gill, a family home in Farragut, or a view in South Knox, the market moves fast. You need more than a listing. You need an edge. And that's where I come in, Jennifer Morris with Keller Williams Realty. And I specialize in helping Knoxville buyers win. I don't just find houses, I find the right fit for your budget and your lifestyle. Ready to unlock your front door? Visit nextmovesmokymountains.com or call me at 865-694-5904. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com. And as always, go Vols.
T to B back with you, 865-200-5402. Pretty pumped to be back with you. We're Happy Time Hoops Hour in it with the great Mark Griffin. Griff, This matchup tonight, you called earlier, kind of a little. You're troubled potentially by this game. Talk to me here.
Yeah, I am, Tony. I mean, as they say, every game is the biggest game, and I'm not saying it's a trap game. I don't know what a trap game really is, but it's just matchup wise. One of the most, I think, underappreciated players in the SEC is Mark Mitchell, 6'9" transfer, former high school All-American, McDonald's All-American. He came from Duke 2 seasons ago. Just a bruiser, 6'9" lefty. It's just a matchup concern. And I mentioned off the air that I'm pretty sure they'll put Ament on him. And this is probably the first time I'm concerned with him getting in foul trouble, because I think they're going to attack Ament every time. Not to say that he's not a sound defensive player, but he can. I don't think he's a great matchup with Mark Mitchell. And he's going to have a lot of help. They're going to have to not allow Mitchell to get those drives into the basket. And this is the biggest team Tennessee's faced this year. I'm not saying it's the best team, but as far as length, they're the biggest team. I mean, they're a big kid, Pierce, 6'10". You got Jacob Cruz, a great three-point shooter, 6'8". Who's going to guard him? Shortest guy on the team's Anthony Robinson. He's 6'3". Jaden Stone's been playing for about 10 years. He's from Perth, Australia.
Great line.
He's 6'4". And then they've got a big kid off the bench, a 7 foot. The Phillips kid, the Porter kid, 6'11". They've got a kid 7'4", doesn't play. So Gates just went long. But on the other end of that, it's like how Tennessee does match up better than a lot of teams because of their height and length. But you take away Estrella, it's a concern.
Well, and you know what's funny about the Tennessee team? Matt, does this track with what we're seeing? Nashville Lee just sent me this. Ament's 5 highest rim rate games this season have been his last 5 games, which is indicative of a guy that's going to the hole more. And he's been getting to the foul line a lot more because of it. Does that track, Matt, with what we're seeing? That stat?
Yeah. Yeah, he's not been shooting a ton of threes. Really, only threes are kind of kick out, so he's not kind of settling for those. But yeah, he's being aggressive and attacking the rim, getting to the foul line. That's what's working, and he's been knocking down his free throws, which has been key. So Griff brought something interesting. Why don't more teams attack Ament on the defensive end, either because he's a liability or just to try to get him in foul trouble? Because he's never been in foul trouble, really. I can't think of a game this year.
Great point.
Like I wonder why opposing teams aren't trying to do that.
And I don't have an answer other than my biggest concern of the season's tonight. Because if he's guarding Mark Mitchell, that's his game. You will see it. He will drive. He hardly shoots any three-point shots. He's not a three-point shooter, but he will drive to the basket. He will offensively rebound, and you're going to have to get a body on him. It really does start, and I think stops with Mitchell. Now, they've got other good players, and I mentioned Jaden Stone earlier, started off at Grand Canyon with Bryce Drew, transferred to a second school, and now he's at Missouri. He's been playing since 2020. But he's had a really, really good year. And I coached against him in high school, travel ball, and I've seen some great improvement from him. A good role that he's playing for Coach Gates. And they've got some really good players. One thing that does help Tennessee on this, it'll be interesting if Barnes takes advantage of this, is you're going to have some fast break opportunities, because when you've got so many big guys, if you get the rebound at the rate that Tennessee does, and you get it in Gillespie's hands, and off you go, take advantage of the numbers, that could really work in Tennessee's advantage. One thing that we talked about off air was, Missouri's 14-2 at home, and at first look you'd go, man, that's incredible, but their latest loss right before the surprising Vanderbilt win at home by 1, they lost to Texas by 20. And then they lost to Georgia earlier in the conference by 2. They've had a lot of close games. I even looked this up. They've had 6 SEC wins by a total of 14 points. They've had 5 of their 6 losses were 8 points or less. So what that tells me is Missouri has a lot of experience playing in close games either way. So it's not a surprise for them when it gets to crunch time. Now, one of the advantages that really helps Tennessee, I know you guys will appreciate this because I'm a stats guy, but you have to bring the stats to life. UT is shooting 69% from the free throw line. There's a team worse, and it's Missouri. They're 68%. They're 317th in the country. There's only like 50 teams worse in the country, which really helps Tennessee if there is that close game at the end. They've got several guys that you could foul. One guy in particular shooting under 50% from the free throw line. That's really going to help Tennessee, and they've all scouted this and know going into the game these scenarios that could come out to play to be prepared for.
The gate zone will be interesting too tonight, guys. That's something you don't see all the time. And Ament's going to get some soft spots to shoot that mid-range shot that he's almost a patented shot at this point if they can exploit the zone properly, Griff.
Oh, that's true. And if you know anything about zone, how to break a zone, you get the ball in the middle.
Yep.
Tennessee's done a fantastic job with that because you've got one of 2 bigs that slide into that the free throw line extended, they call it, the free throw line. And then you have your other big on the block. So if you can get the ball to the middle, the open area, the first look is to the basket. And if you don't take the 15-foot shot or 2 dribbles to the basket, you've got a big man down low that can slide in to get position to receive the ball as well. So there's some good strengths there because I think the Tennessee bigs, one thing we haven't talked about, I've always felt they've been a really good passing team from bigs to the perimeter and or inside, especially Brown. I actually think he's their best big guy passer, which is underrated.
It's interesting.
But you're going to have a lot of options there. They're going to miss Estrella, yes.
Yep.
But they missed him already and did fine in Nashville, and they'll just continue that rotation.
He's questionable, they say, for tonight.
They're going to miss Estrella. The thing about this team is we're watching different guys grow in different roles. Matt, you make a really good point about Ament defensively. It could be that his length at this level and his ability to get off the floor. We've seen him block some shots, come over and block some shots. It might be that he's an underrated defender, Matt, and it might be that he just knows how to function on the floor. Now, Mark, I'll be surprised if they let Mitchell be guarded by Ament. Now, maybe Missouri will try to get Tennessee in that matchup as they can off switches and whatnot, Maury Hanks. But I don't think that'll be his primary defender. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but then again, I don't know who's going to check him if it's not him. But it's interesting.
You may be right. You may be right. But if I'm Missouri, I'm making sure that I'm running 2-man game where the guy that whoever Ament is guarding, you have him at the top of the key. And you run what's called the 2-man game. You run a screen where the players have to switch because Tennessee switches 1 to 5. Then you get that matchup. It's what NBA does every night. They get switches to get mismatches. And I just feel, and I don't know Gates well at all, but I feel for Missouri's sake to have any type of advantage with the way that Mitchell plays is he's so physical that I think he would really try to attack Ament. But you're right. Ament's done a good job staying out of foul trouble. And I'm not saying tip off he comes out guarding Mitchell. I don't see that either. But I think that when you get into the game, you're going to see these screens to get those matchups.
And basically, like, I'm having a conversation with C right now, and he, in his mind, he says Amet's been guarding smaller guys this year, to Matt's point, and they've sort of let smaller guys every once in a while will go around him, but with his length, he's able to still affect shots, and he's been able to stay out of foul trouble that way. He's had a couple blocks from behind, which have keyed runs here recently. If you think about some of the recent games, his guess tonight is they're going to go with a trio of Boswell. He thinks it's a game that Evans is going to play a bunch in because of Mitchell. Boswell, Evans, and maybe even a little bit of Brown on Mitchell and bang him around a little bit. Boswell is like a human pincushion out there, Mark. Look, I was wrong about him. I didn't think he could function at this level. He's made a liar out of me. He's been very good this year at what he's doing. And what he's doing is he goes out and just sacrifices. I mean, nobody plays harder than him, John. Who plays harder than a Boswell guy?
No, he plays really good defense.
Yeah.
Great perimeter defense. But what I really elevated my opinion of him in that Vanderbilt game.
Yeah.
Down the stretch in the last 2 minutes, he made 2 really tough contested shots. And the fact that he had the confidence to take those shots told me something, let alone that he made both of them, because he very closely defended, one in the lane. So I thought that was significant. He's really turning into something.
Mark, isn't that a wonderful point? Because you started today, and that was the first thing out of your mouth was giving him his flowers.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I thought it was the key, because if you're Vanderbilt and Byington in the huddle, and everyone knows this that follows SEC basketball. I mean, there's 2 guys from Tennessee you're going to say, we've got to contain. You're not going to stop them, but you've got to contain them. And the first one, obviously, is Gillespie, because you could say, hey, we're going to double him when he gets the ball, make him get rid of it.
Yep.
So I'm not saying he's the first option, but he's going to be the one with the ball. So he's point A that you're going to try to get the ball out of his hands. Second is, where is Ament? Let's get this hand check. Let's try to make sure he doesn't get the ball in a 10 to 15 feet position where he can go to work. So what does that leave? It left Boswell open, and Boswell did not hesitate. He had the confidence to take those shots. And guys, in a situation where there's such a close game, role players, I'm still calling them, they're all role players, but he especially is a role player. You're going to sit there and go, let me get the ball to Nate. Let me get the ball to Jacoby, because they're the ones that are our scorers. They're scorers 1 and 2. But he was able to take that on himself, saw that he had the advantage to go to the basket, and he didn't hesitate. And that was the best part. He didn't hesitate and think, because when you think, you're done.
Well, and you're right. And to John's point, there wasn't a whole lot of thought out there. I'm not sure those shots early in the season, John, Boswell would have taken. In fact, I would venture to guess he would not have taken those shots earlier in the year.
No, it's we've talked about this all year. I mean, that seemed, even before the season, we talked about Tennessee needs another shooting guard. That was a shortcoming this team would have, and it's come up again and again. But
yep.
But if you've got somebody that can make those kind of tough plays, that he had enough confidence to do it in that situation, and then I think he should be even more confident after that. It doesn't mean he'll become Tennessee's leading scorer, but he gives Tennessee another option, and I think that's so important to find other options as you head into March and postseason play.
Yes. Griff, anything else you want to add on tomorrow night, on tonight's game, before we start looking at seed and competition for seed?
No, that's it. I mean, we'll, hope to drink our coffee and stay up late at night, because it's going to be a late night game. And I hate the 9 o'clock games, guys. I really do. Because for me, I don't stay up till 11 normally, but I will tonight.
No, and Brian, you got a little news today from Kentucky land. Lay it on me here, because I want to get into this for a few seconds, because we talk about the league at large and One of the places you got to look when you talk about the lead at large is right to the north of us, because aside from beating us a couple of times, I'm not sure where Kentucky's done well this year. Now, we've kind of made their season almost tolerable for them, Matt, which is very painful because we've had a great SEC season so far, Matt, a great season. But we let that damn mid-Kentucky team we lost double-digit leads to them twice, Matt, twice. When Stephen F.M. Pearl got some of it Saturday night, and he was on like a 5-game losing streak. What are we doing?
Please keep bringing that up, Tom. Let's keep reminding us.
Well, I mean, it's sickening.
Games. I mean, they did beat St. John's. They had a comeback against Patino, and then they won at Arkansas. So
yes.
They've gotten up for their big games against former coaches and big rivals. But
yes. And by the way,
Mikey White at home.
Vandy Dandy has now been put in 24-hour timeout over on our YouTube channel, and his violation, according to me today, was making a human hemorrhoid of himself. These people that want to go on these chat boards and just, throw up all over, a Vandy Dandy, or whatever your name is, we get it. And today you got it. Brian, share with the living listener what we're talking about here with Kentucky.
Mark Polk was fined $25,000 for comments he made after the Auburn loss.
Mark Griffin, in your lifetime, has a foul like that ever been called against Kentucky at that stage of a basketball game?
Oh, no.
No.
No. Not happening.
No. He's not regal at all. Kentucky may still be regal, but he's not.
Is that what that is, Mark? They don't respect Bambi over there?
Don't respect who?
Bambi.
Bambi?
And their coach.
That's what you call.
Pope looks like Bambi over there, yeah.
Oh. There's so much going on over there. It'll take a whole show.
What do you make of their deal? Is that a thing where they went grocery shopping and what you bought at the store, you're just a few ingredients short, or is it more than that?
I think they've got, well, I'm not a cook, but to me, it's like you got a lot of ingredients, but you don't know what you're tasting because it's just not coming out the way it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a recipe gone wrong. All the ingredients, it doesn't taste good. And it's interesting because, the players got paid, but they're not buying in. And people still throw out how much money they spend on NIL. And we can't even confirm what it is. And that's one of my biggest beefs. I wish it was public on how much each team or each university spends on a player. Why is it not public? It's not HIPAA. It's not a health thing. Why isn't that public? I don't know. That's one of my biggest beefs. If I was Jay Billis, I would have that all over social media.
John, at these public universities.
It would be nice. I know I'm digressing, but it'd be nice to know, like, when you're playing Missouri and their NIL's $4 million, playing Kentucky, it's $22 million. And then you're sitting there during tournament time and let's say Miami of Ohio's in the tournament and they're like, well, their NIL's $1 million. A lot more fans are going to go, heck, I'm pulling for Miami. They don't have any money.
Hey, John, why is that?
Because what we do in today's society, we stick a dollar sign besides every player. And we used to not do that back in the day, and I know John will remember, but when you had Goose Gossage pitching for the Yankees and come out the bullpen, no one ever said, well, he got $3.8 million this year to play, and he's on a restricted salary for next year. It was like number 54, Goose Gossage. That's all you knew. And now we assign a dollar amount to every athlete that walks on the floor.
Well, I think if you have fans are paying a talent fee now.
Yep.
And I think because of that,